The circular economy is really about having our needs met as consumers in more sustainable ways. And that means that everything that's created in the economy, all the goods and services need to be redesigned. So design is really the tool that helps us transition from this linear waste-based economy to a circular and sustainable one. And what I mean by that is it's not just the products, so redesigning a physical product, but it's also the business model that delivers that product and then the experience that we as consumers have. A really great example of that is just your morning coffee. So everybody likes their caffeine, but a lot of us get it in a disposable cup, which we know has impacts. So a really cool concept is a library system for cups. So imagine you've got a city street with lots of different cafes. They all subscribe to this one service that's a third-party provider. It's a reusable cup. It's checked out like a library system, and then it's just dropped off in facilities that then get picked up, washed, and delivered back. So instead of throwing your disposable cup in a trash can, you're actually delivering it or depositing it in a receptacle. So you have your needs met as the consumer. The service provider has a frictionless experience, and then we are eliminating waste from the system. So when it comes to policy, the interesting thing about the circular economy is we really need leadership from governments because this isn't just one part of the economy that needs to transform. So I see policy as kind of like the blanket that brings everything together. And I do believe that policy shouldn't be used as a restrictor, it should be used as an enabler. And so what that means is rather than banning things, we should create policies that actually encourage innovation and transformation and collaboration. So as we do this transformation, you're going to have lots of new innovation and technology, and we do need safety nets to ensure that the solutions that are putting in play are not going to create bigger problems like unintended consequences. We've seen that a lot, so it requires governments to ensure that there's appropriate reporting standards and that also that there's an even playing field so that different competitors actually are motivated to innovate in a particular way. So some really interesting examples are coming out of the European Union at the moment. For example, they're bringing in repairability laws, which are requiring tech companies to self-assess the repairability of their products and then report that information to consumers at the point of sale. So France already has this in play. It's been around for a year now, and many other countries in Europe will start to implement it. So you have like essentially a rating out of 10 that if you're online and you're buying a new cell phone, it will literally say this is a 5, which means that it's not very repairable. It means that the company's not providing parts or services. Whereas if it's a 10, it means the company will commit to having a manual available, repairable parts, and they'll encourage third-party repairers. So that actually gives us as consumers more clarity and information, and it gives us more autonomy over the products because we all know how frustrating it is when we break our cell phones and you need to get them fixed quickly. So these kinds of laws are helping to create those minimum standards and are incentivizing the producers to do better. So one of the key things about this transition from a linear to a circular economy is closing the loops, and that really requires us to manage all assets across the entire supply chain. So if you think about it, climate change is embedded in absolutely everything. So whether it be an internet search or, your coffee, everything has a carbon footprint. And so we need to understand what that is to then be able to transform it. So data is critical, data management and asset management. In fact, even for something like the circular economy, we have this role called reverse supply chain logistics. Like, how do you bring back the product to have it remanufactured or repaired? How do we make sure that we manage those assets? So that's all an amazing tech opportunity. But critically as well, we have this need for service delivery models that are really frictionless. So we know good design is invisible. And when it comes to these transitionary models, as consumers, as people going about our daily lives, we don't want to be encumbered by clunky, uncool systems. You want it to be seamless and beautiful and enjoyable. And again, that requires a lot of technology, data, assessment to manage all of those things so that we can really optimize those experiences and create that more efficient outcome. And then the last piece I would say is, again, back to some policy in the European Union, there are these new things called digital product passports. And this is a huge thing that's happening. Essentially what that requires is that we use technology to manage across the entire supply chain assets, whether it be materials that are going into manufacturing or the end goods, or once they're out in the consumer base. Essentially, we have this digital passport that gives us all the information so that if you've got a piece of recyclable material, the recycler has enough information to know how to then adequately recycle it. Or as a consumer, you know where the products come from and where it can go. So this is an incredible tool that will help us really transform the way goods move through the economy. And it also enables better data. So for different players, like you have the purchaser can get information about the supply chain, they can make better decisions. So for sure, this is one of the big kind of emergent spaces I highly recommend people to think about and explore how that could work for them.